Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing roundup with news, views, previews and interviews and special guests. And on today's show, which is the last for the current season, we're building up to the season finale at Sha Tin on Sunday and Happy Valley next Wednesday. As always, great to have your company for the show. I'm Andrew Jeune. Please say I'm joined by Hong Kong Direct regular and Graham Cunningham as well, as we look back on the season, Graham, and look forward to the last two meetings as well. What a season it's been so far. Yeah, it's been quite a 10.5 months, Andrew. Great to join you today. So much to look back on, plenty to look forward to, and still one very significant title race to be decided this Sunday and next Wednesday, of course. Absolutely. In theory, it's still possible for... We're going to drill down into this more in detail in a bit, but Joe's got 11 rides on the weekend, needs to win on at least 8 of them. It would be a magical story if he could to set out for the meeting final, but he will, of course, miss Wednesday night through suspension, unfortunately. Mate, they call him the Magic Man for good reason, but he's not Houdini. The trainer's title race, on the other hand, though, is still very much alive, with Tony Cruz just keeping things interesting with the final winner at Happy Valley on Wednesday night. Yeah, this is still live between 3 homegrown trainers. That's what makes it extra exciting. And it could go right to the wire. We've got Ricky Yu, 1 ahead of Francis, who's a couple ahead of Tony. They are carpet bombing this weekend's meeting. I think 31 runners between them at Sha Tin, plenty with really good chances. But it would be really surprising if it still wasn't live into the final night. And Tony knows all about last night dramas at Happy Valley. 7 years ago, he went into the season finale at the Valley, 2 clear of Dennis Ship. All sorts of to and fro that night. And Dennis got the better of Tony in the very last race. Tony is not the hunted this time. He's the hunter. And don't forget, countback could be a factor. Francis leads Ricky if it comes to countback. Don't want to get too complicated, but Tony leads them both if it comes to a tie or maybe a triple dead heat. All right, OK, so there's plenty still more to play out as far as the trainer's title race is concerned. We'll get Graham's thoughts on the season as well, his highlights on the year so far. But let's first get some of the main players, the trainers and jockeys, and we'll start off with the champion-elect, Zac Purton, his season highlights.
Clearly it was winning the QE2 on Exultant. It was the only Group 1 race that I hadn't won in Hong Kong, and I'd finished 2nd and 3rd in that race a number of times. To finally be able to put that trophy on the mantelpiece was very satisfying, and especially on a horse like him as well. He's a true warrior.
It's Exultant with 150 to go. Furore 2 lengths away, but running around a bit. Exultant leads. Furore still a length to make up. Then Eagle Way. It's QE2 redemption for Exultant.
There's 2 horses that did very well for us that beat the clock. One is 2 Group 1s, and that was good for him. That made him 4 Group 1s in the calendar year, so that doesn't happen very often.
Thero kept going, only a half, 3/4, they're closing. Hot King Prawn coming after him, beat the clock, Mr. Stunning, beat the clock, going to a Thero. Morera takes the sprint and the bars.
Waikaku won the Stewards Cup. That day he beat the best horse in town for some time, Beauty Generation, so I'm sure the owners would have got some thrill out of that. So those 2 horses would be the highlight of mine.
Definitely Golden 60, the Derby, and Southern Legend for the Group 1.
It's Beauty Generation. He has to fight here, the champ. Southern Legend's gone with him and made the lead. Then White Cuckoo. Southern Legend's ahead in front. Beauty Generation's coming again. Southern Legend, Beauty Generation. Maybe Southern Legend got the head down.
Every jockey is here, and whoever is a jockey, I think they all have their dreams to win Group 1s and Derby, of course.
Oh, without a doubt, it would have to be that first winner. There's no real feeling like it. He was a problem horse and a problem child, and just getting into his head and working him out and delivering the goods, it was satisfaction beyond belief.
Adonis swept to the lead with 50 to run, roaring away. Kwai Chung Elite finishing strongly, but it's all Adonis. Adonis goes on to win, and there's the first for Douglas White.
I have to put White Cuckoo when he won the Stewart Cup.
Burton says go on Beauty Generation, 250 out from home, but here comes White Cuckoo. He's storming down the middle of the track. He's only half a length away. Carrying Star Ratton. White Cuckoo's moved up on the outside of Beauty Generation. The champ's trying to fight, but White Cuckoo stamps his authority to win the Stewart's Cup.
We had a very nice horse, rising and improving. We were hoping that he could come up to the stand of being capable to be the horse of the year before, which was Beauty Generation, and he has produced that. He has gone to a different level of quality and ability.
Yeah, it's been a great season, but I think my highlight must have been the IJC in December.
In the centre, Dream Warriors. Murray's Partners out wider. Charity Wings flashing later. Terrific finish here. Dream Warriors, Murray Partners. Dream Warriors has just won this for Teton.
Of course, it's a special event and also very tough to be, very competitive, to be riding against so many good jockeys around the world, and to be able to get a title was, like I said.
And Karis enjoying his best ever season as well. Most of the big days covered there, Graham, but looking back, what was your highlight for the year?
Plenty to choose from, Andrew, but I have to go with the BMW Hong Kong Derby for many reasons, but perhaps mainly because this was one of those races that had a huge amount of hoopla and hype beforehand, and the actual race itself lived up to it and then some, because look at this horse on the outside, Vincent Ho and Golden 60, local owner Stanley Chan, local trainer Francis Loy, and homegrown jockey Vincent Ho. Blake Shin made a memorable bid for victory on Playa del Puente, but in a record-breaking derby, fastest derby ever run, that horse, Golden 60, clocked 21.83 for the final 400. Nailed him in the final few yards. And, of course, one of the highlights in another breakthrough season for Vincent Ho. Golden 60 in the derby, my seasonal highlight.
Yeah, Francis Lowe, of course, still fighting out for the trainer's title race. Now, he put him away after the derby, resisted the temptation to go again in something like the QE2 Cup. Did that make part of the story, though? You mentioned the owner, the trainer, the jockey, all being, local, the Hong Kong win, if you like. That added to the story as well, I think.
Absolutely. First time that had happened, I think, since the very early 1970s. And it's that sequence of ones, a flawless season of 7 wins from 7 runs for Golden 60. He is the crown prince now of Hong Kong racing, but we can't help casting our minds forward. Early October will be presumably his reappearance in the Celebration Cup, where he might meet Beauty Generation, getting around 17 or 18 pounds. But that's for the future. In March, Golden 60 capped a flawless season.
He certainly did, yes. Beauty Generation, of course, his regular pilot is Zach Purton, who leads this jockey's title race. With Jeune back on Sunday after missing Wednesday night. He missed the final day, as we already mentioned already. So Zach comes in with not an unassailable lead, but 143 plays, 135. But maybe the telling statistic or number there is the number of second places they've run. Yeah, it is a numbers game. When you have a race over 10.5 months, the stats don't tend to lie. Joe's had too many seconds for his liking. He's probably had too many suspensions for his liking as well, Andrew. Yeah, well, the current count is 6 for Joe against 2 for Zach. And, you break that down whichever way you like. You're not going to ride winners if you're not there on race day, if you're sitting at home on the couch. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But there's some more key stats here that I just want to run by you. Zach starts the season at, some would say, a disadvantage. He seldom rides lower than 120 pounds. Therefore, he has fewer options to choose from. But the hard facts are that he had 20 fewer rides than Joe so far this season. He's been on 28 fewer favourites, and he's still developed a clear lead. Perhaps the most important stat of all is this isn't a one-off now for Purton. He has run down Joe Moreira twice in the last 3 years
when Joe's had a double-digit lead at some point. I think this season, Joe had a 5-timer, including 2 Group 1s on HKIR day, and he went 12 clear at that point. Slowly but surely, Zach has reeled him in 2 years out of the last 3, and it's that combination of precision, patience, consistency, even ruthlessness that makes Zach Purton absolutely made for a long grind like this.
They say there's no certainties in racing, Graham, but you're happy to call it. If I was the engraver, I'd be practicing my Z and Ps at the moment. Can you call this one?
Well, I think in my first week in Hong Kong, March 2017 was it, I arrived at the airport. The first person I saw was Joe Moreira. I thought, there's Joe. Went to the races that same afternoon. He'd been riding in Australia. He drew a blank, and I thought, what's all the fuss about with this Moreira? The week after, he had the 8-timer at Sha Tin. Nothing's impossible with Joe Moreira.
All right, we'll leave it at that for now. Still plenty more to come. Be looking at the trainers' title race after the break, and also John Moore as he wraps up his incredible Hong Kong career. That's all still to come. John Moore's training career, an incredible career as well, comes to an end here in Hong Kong next Wednesday night at Happy Valley. So 2 meetings to go for John. So the Sha Tin finale for him on Sunday. Of course, Sha Tin has played host to some of his biggest successes here in Hong Kong.
When I had a look at him, I looked and I went, oh my God. There was something, some gut feeling there that told me, oh, take a chance. And didn't we have a fabulous trip with him?
Stanley Ho can get anything he wants, but you can't buy this. You must earn it, and Viva Bataka does. Wins the Derby.
Military Attack races to the lead from California Memory. But what a great welcome to Hong Kong racing for the Australian superstar rider Tommy Berry. Military Attack wins the QE2 Cup. It's Designs on Rome and Able Friend fighting it out. Designs on Rome with his head in front. He's edging away. And Designs on Rome wins the Derby by a length.
Able Friend we had from day one. As I said, from Muskoka to Hawks to Hong Kong to a world champion mile.
All 1,300 pounds of him, and away he goes. Able Friend from last has put play to them quickly.
Able Friend going to win the Champions Mile in an absolute hand canter. That's the world's best. The Hong Kong Derby winner, Werther, absolutely destroying them here in the Audemars Piguet QE2 Cup. Magnificent Werther.
Generation was bought as a tried horse. It was my job to make him what he is today.
This is 100% pure Group 1 power. He is invincible, Beauty Generation.
Great memories there, Graham. Not just some of John Moore's best, but some of Hong Kong's very best.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame trainer, not just in Hong Kong terms, in global terms, John Moore. His record stacks up brilliantly in terms of prize money record, quantity, number of winners, but the quality is the thing. He's at 36 Group 1 winners and some superstars there, horses who've just etched their names into Hong Kong racing history.
And the story doesn't end here. John will go back to Australia and continue training there. But, you know, he leaves a big hole in the Hong Kong training ranks after being here for, you know, decades now. He
does. But sometimes when you lose a big name striker, you get one in return. And David Hayes looks like the man to fill that gap in more ways than one. You need a big character and a big personality to really thrive at the top of Hong Kong racing. He fits that bill. And his CV is pretty impressive too.
It certainly is, yeah. And he took over with Beauty Generation as well. He hasn't had his best ever season, Beauty Generation, but at his very best, was he the best, do you think, of John's?
That's debatable. I think there might be one other horse we're going to talk about in a moment who would certainly run him very close. But it's about the charisma of John Moore, the charisma he brings, whether it's to media, television, however. He's a showman, and he's an incredibly vigorous young 70. I'm sure he'll go on to do big things in Australia. But no, in recent terms, in my time here, Beauty Generation, certainly in that 2018 Longines Hong Kong Mile, he was a crackerjack horse. And we shouldn't underestimate what Beauty Generation has achieved this season. Yes, age has just dimmed those incredible powers slightly, but he still was the world's best miler on rankings, international rankings in 2019. He became the first horse to break through the $100 million prize money barrier, and he equaled the mighty Silent Witness's record of 18 wins. Not a bad haul for an old fella.
It certainly isn't, not at all. So it's John. Well, very best luck to John on Sunday and Wednesday. No one's won more races, won more prize money or Group 1s either than John Moore. And speaking of trainers as well, John unfortunately sits fourth on the trainers' title race at the moment. So again, mathematically probably not impossible, but looks difficult for him. The big three here, Ricky Yu, Francis Loy and Tony Cruz, you mentioned at the start. He's the hunter this year as opposed to being the one that's hunted.
Yeah, Tony thinks he needs 3 winners to have any chance this weekend. I'm not sure. I think as long as he has one more than the 2 ahead of him, he's still right in the mix. I feel confident it's going to go to Happy Valley on Wednesday. Ricky has the numerical edge this weekend. I think he has 13 runners. I think Tony has 10 and Francis has 8. It's highly likely that that trio will have a winner or 2 between them, but whoever has the edge on Sunday will go to Happy Valley full of confidence.
Yeah, it shouldn't go unmentioned either that Francis Loy doesn't have the luxury, if that's what you want to call it, of Chung Fa either. He's training purely out of here at Sha Tin.
Yeah, it's an incredible testament to his skill and the consistency and durability of his horses. Because if you look at both Ricky and Francis, for that matter, they've had the most winners this season, but in terms of actual runners, they've had far fewer than plenty of other trainers further down the table. So the strike rate has been something to behold all season.
So again, without wanting to call it, with so much still to happen, you'd rather be in front than behind, though, wouldn't you?
Of course you would. I would say if you were betting on it, it would probably be around 4-6 Ricky, 2-1, 9-4 Francis, and 9-2, 5-1 Tony. But one winner can tip the balance either way here. And don't forget that Ricky's been hanging on by virtue of long shots, 15-1 chances, 25-1 chances, 32-1 chances. So it's no guarantee that the favourites are going to oblige here. Every runner they send out is going to be really live this weekend.
Well, one of the main races on Sunday is the Sha Tin Mile Trophy, and Ricky Yu's actually double-handed here with Jolly Banner, who still picked up a big prize at the age of 8 last time out, and Pressure Ship as well. He goes to Jerry Chow, taking £10 off his back in race number 4. One of the big races comes up early. Yeah,
it's a fairly short field. That's why it comes up early on the card. Chances for Ricky. I think Jolly Banner may just be a bit high in the weights and distance now. 2 horses who we have to keep a close eye on, Fast Most Furious and General's Delight. Both ran really well in the Lion Rock Trophy. Fast Most Furious slightly unlucky, has Zach back aboard, but General's Delight ran a screamer from well out of the handicap that day, and he has, I think, a 12-pound pull with Caris Teeton on board. I think Douglas White started the season at Sha Tin with a bang. He might end it with a bang at Sha Tin as well.
Well, it might be quite timely as well in terms of a changing of the guard, the handing over the baton of someone like Douglas White in his first season, 13 times champion jockey. That's as John Moore bows out, we've got someone like Douglas White coming through the ranks again. And at the weights, it does look very, very attractive for General's Delight on the weekend.
I think it does. But you make a good point about Douglas. This is a really, really strong first season, low 40s of winners. You have to think he's a strong chance to improve on that next season, and it wouldn't surprise anyone around Sha Tin or Happy Valley if Douglas was vying pretty hard for the title this time next year.
All right, there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, Graham. We're talking about the jockeys before, but a couple of the local jockeys. Ben So bows out at the end of the season. He had a magical night at Happy Valley a couple of weeks ago, and Keith Young, who's had an indifferent season, I suppose, to a certain extent, up until Dances with Dragon, flew down the straight just a few weeks ago for Casper Fence.
Yeah, in the middle of the eclipse. So anything's possible. One thing I would mention about jockeys as well, we talked for so long, rightly so, about a big 2 in Hong Kong, Zach Purton and Joe Moreira. Now, we're still a little way off having a big 3 or a big 4 for that matter, but Caris Teeton and Vincent Ho are both set for personal best seasons. They've both had Group 1 success this season. Caris won the IJC in December. Vincent had his first international Group 1. They're both just turned 30, I think. They're approaching the prime of their careers, and they're coming for Zach, and they're coming for Joe, albeit gradually.
Have to wait for next season for that. So as far as the diary's concerned, well, it's pretty short because we've only got 2 meetings to go. We're back at Jeune on Sunday, 11 races with the Jeune Mile Trophy. We've just touched on that with the likes of generals like Jolly Banner and Pressure Ship going around there. Then Happy Valley on Wednesday night. That is officially the last meeting of the season. It'll be meeting number 87 for the campaign. We'll wrap up and be back again in September. So that's just about the show, Graham. We've given you the honour this week of choosing the race to play out with, and we're going with a John Moore theme as well.
What a treat. I can sign off. Yes, this is my John Moore highlight. It was before my time in Hong Kong, but Able Friend was a mighty horse, and October 2015. Why was this significant? Well, redemption was in the air. He was on the back of an anticlimactic trip to Royal Ascot. It also proved to be, amazingly, the last win of his career. The style was straight out of Hollywood, drawn 14, coming from way back on the wide outside. And look at the substance. The horses he beat, giving £6 to proven Group 1 performer Gold Fun, £11 to a star Group 1 sprinter in Peniophobia. Aero Velocity was in there. Amber Sky was in there. This was one of the best handicap performances Hong Kong, correction, well racing has ever seen.
Oh, that's a tremendous build-up. Thanks as always, Graham. Enjoy the next 2 meetings and the off-season as well. Thanks to all the other guests throughout the current campaign as well, and a special thanks to everyone behind the scenes who makes the show what it is, and thank you for watching as well. We'll leave you then with the mighty Able Friend who played a huge part in the John Moore legacy. We'll see you again on Sunday and Wednesday, of course, as well. Bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
Premier Bowl, 1200 ready, they're off and racing. And Bundle of Joy off the inside, jumped beautifully. Golden Harvest away quickly, as was Penophobia. Aero Velocity right there in the early doors, and so too Amber Sky. He's zooming across from the wide gate. Not Listening to Me's handy, but he's deep, followed then by Gold Fun and Lucky 9. Smart Volatility gets back with Dundonald. Secret Sham, Tour de Force. 2 away to Able Friend, second last, and Charles the Great last of all. The speedy Amber Sky, he's burning up the track. He leads a length at a quarter on Penophobia in second position. Aero Velocity a stalking third. Not Listening to Me, Golden Harvest, Bundle of Joy, then Lucky 9 from Gold Fun. Smart Volatility well back with Secret Sham, Tour de Force, Charles the Great, Able Friend last, Dundonald ahead of him into the straight, and Amber Sky straight in front. Penophobia, Not Listening to Me, sprinting quickly. Aero Velocity's not doing a great deal. Then Gold Fun, it's Not Listening to Me taking the lead from Penophobia. Gold Fun quickly pounces on them. Gold Fun goes to the front. Penophobia in for the fight. They beat off Not Listening to Me. Able Friend, the champ, storming down the outside. It's Gold Fun in front. Able Friend, what a magnificent return by the horse of the year.